Tifu reading a manuscript my ex-GF wrote. A few days ago I, 28 male, got an email from my ex-GF, 25, with the subject line, "I did it thanks to you." The email had an attachment. The attachment was a manuscript. The manuscript was an autobiography written by my ex-GF. The title of the autobiography instantly took me back to the time when my ex-GF and I were still dating. I was sexually inexperienced back in those days, whereas my ex-GF had more than enough sexual experience. We enjoyed talking about past relationships and what the sex was like. It was never a thing in our relationship. Just casual conversation. My ex-GF had more stories to tell and all of them were entertaining. I remember joking about how she should someday write a book. We laughed, made love, and a few months later, our relationship came to an end. It was sad, but alas, life continued. We're now back in the present. I finished reading the manuscript an hour ago. There were 72 chapters. Each chapter was about an individual person my ex-GF had known sexually. No real names were mentioned. Only character labels. Like the surfer, the biker, the jock, the older man, etc. Some of the stories and characters I actually remembered based on the details my ex-GF shared with me during our relationship. Others were totally new. But new or not, it was fun to read. Until I made it to chapter 39. My chapter. The turtle. Keep in mind, all the sexual partners my ex-GF mentioned in her manuscript had something specific about them that made the sex memorable for her. For example, the surfer always smelled like the ocean, which never failed to turn her on. The biker had gang tattoos from the neck down, but the one tattoo that always made her rip his clothes off was his pet hamster tattoo. Then there was me. A guy who couldn't swim, let alone surf, no tattoos, and with practically zero sexual experience at the time. What was so memorable about me? Well, according to my chapter, the answer was my adorably small penis. My ex-GF described how she had almost forgotten what it felt like not to choke during oral, before she met me. She compared my penis to the head of a baby turtle, thus my chapter and character name. Based on what I was reading, not only did I have the smallest penis compared to all the other people she's dated, but I also had the only penis that somehow managed to look too innocent for sex. It didn't come across as if my ex-GF was purposefully trying to insult me, but come on, I think most people can understand what a sensitive topic penis size can be to any guy who's not hung like a horse. I still need to contact my ex-GF and provide my feedback, but I'm gonna need some time to process what I read. It's not every day someone writes a book about your small dick. Welcome back, insecurities I didn't think I would have at this age. Dr. jokingly encouraged my ex-GF to write a book about her adventurous sex life when we were still together. She wrote a manuscript years later and recently sent it to me. To my surprise and horror, I was in said manuscript, and so was my adorably small penis.
Doot doot.
Tifu after masturbating for 6 years straight. I, 28 male, started having sex in my mid-teens, but stopped having sex in my early 20s, specifically after my first real relationship came to an end. I was 22. I never thought it would affect me as bad as it did for as long as it did. But from 22 until recently, I've been avoiding relationships, even casual hookups. As you can imagine, I did what most people do when they're alone and horny, I masturbated. For 6 fucking years. A few weeks ago I finally said enough is enough and decided to start dating again. After several unsuccessful dates and almost reverting back to my antisocial ways, I managed to make a connection. She was cute, funny, covered in freckles and I loved it. Towards the end of our first date we agreed to continue the fun at her place. Based on our body language, sex was definitely on the table. One of my biggest fears was coming almost instantly due to the 6 years of zero sex. However, the opposite became my biggest challenge. I wasn't coming at all. I could practically see the seasons change while I was fucking. That's how long it felt. After thrusting longer than I've ever thrusted in my life, I pulled out and apologized to my date. She seemed as relieved as I was to stop. We were both complaining about being sore. I explained my 6-year situation and made her understand that she did nothing wrong. It was all me. She understood and said it must be death grip. I never heard of it before, but when she explained it to me, it made sense. I googled how to overcome death grip and the #1 treatment plan was masturbate less. I opted for not masturbating at all and guess what? It didn't help. No money shot. I had sex with the same freckle-faced girl for 3 weeks and I think her vagina fucking hates me. Yesterday we were supposed to meet up but she called to tell me she's no longer interested in seeing me because I've made it uncomfortable for her to walk properly. I masturbated this morning just to see if I can still come and the answer is yes. I've literally trained my dick to hate sex and now I seem to have lost a potential girlfriend. TL. Doctor avoided sex and masturbated for most of my 20s and now I'm unable to orgasm during sex and I'm losing potential relationships in the process.
Doot doot.
Tifu, my girlfriend caught me jerking off to my ex's nudes. This happened 3 to 4 hours ago today. So I've been with my current girlfriend for over a year and we got together 6 months after me and my ex broke up. My girlfriend was out doing Christmas shopping today and I was having a relaxed day off of work, so I decided with the place to myself to jerk off. Decided to put some porn on, but after 40 minutes I was getting frustrated and couldn't come, so when this happens I go to my ex's nudes and videos she sent to me, so I put some headphones and started going to one of her videos. My girlfriend came home but I couldn't hear she came home, so she walked over to me to get my attention or to maybe start something, clearly seeing what I was doing, but she saw my ex's face moaning on my phone and ran out shouting. She drove and isn't answering her phone. It's been 3 hours, and she still hasn't come home. What the fuck do I do to make this right? TLDR, my girlfriend of almost 2 years caught me jerking off to my ex's nudes. She left and I haven't seen her.
Doot doot.
Tifu, by saying no to a shower with 3 attractive grad students. Went on a trip with an ex and her 2 friends. The ex and I hang out whenever practical, but she's in med school states away now. Us 4 had a good start to the weekend, margaritas, then a trip to the casino. We won a decent amount and split it between the 4 of us, and celebrated before going back to the hotel. We got back, 3 of us were pretty intoxicated and the one was holding back for a sporting event the next day, and those 3 hop in th3 shower. They invite me in and in my drunken state I say it's too crowded in there, I'm gonna explore. BRB, and I take my one-wheel, electric skateboard, into a foreign city to me, cruising around till I hit a dip in the road and eat it at 20 miles per hour. I broke my ankle in 3 spots, went to the hospital and had my parents pick me up from 3 hours away, and when the ladies called to check on me the next day, they had me check their Snap story where they met Mark Cuban at the rugby game. TL. DR, by turning down 3 ladies in a shower only to severely injure myself and miss out on a chance to meet a billionaire. Damn.
Doot doot.
Tifu, by mentioning that my ex-girlfriend exists. Content warning, menstruation. Less than an hour ago. My 26 male, girlfriend of almost 2 years, 24F, is on her period and comes over for the night. I'm making some dinner for her while she talks about stuff she saw on Twitter regarding men not understanding menstrual struggles. It was some shit about men's sexual needs costing more than period expenses. I chime in how it's not uncommon for men even in their 20s to refuse to buy period products for their girlfriends because it's embarrassing. She says, "You've bought them for me before, right? In the 2 years we've been together I've never had to, but I absolutely would." Trying to reassure her I reply with, "I've never had to buy them for you before, but at least once I bought them for my ex, who I broke up with 5 years ago and no longer speak to at all." To which she says, "You talk about your ex a lot." I don't actually think this is true, and frankly I don't even remember the last time I talked about her to my GF, but now she's being cold to me and won't talk to me. TL. Doctor, tried to express my desire to be sympathetic of women's struggle with a real-life example and have been given the cold shoulder. Hey. I love you. Thanks for watching. I hoped you enjoyed this Reddit audio story. It would mean a lot to me if you could like and subscribe, or better yet, leave a comment about one of the stories. Thanks, and I hope you have a wonderfully fantastic day. XOXO.